Good morning and welcome to Morning Java, brought to you as always by our friends at the Get Go Cafe and Market, where for a limited time only, Mr. Perrotto, you can get the Pilgrim. I understand you have had this Pilgrim.
It's very good. I have it without cranberry sauce. You've talked me off camera here into getting the cranberry sauce. I'm going to put a little on it the next time.
Okay, so you and Taylor go off in your own bracket here for the non-cranberry group. The rest of us are firmly in the cranberry section. Let's talk a little about baseball, because there's actually been some news as it relates to the Pirates with the, I guess you'd call them buyouts or whatever, of the not exercising the options on Jung Ho Kang, Jae-Hae. Neither of them is a surprise, obviously.
No, I think, they'd made it clear to Josh, and even Clint Hurdle had admitted in his pregame press conferences the last few weeks that it was the end of the line for Josh.
They brought him out, and Jordy, too.
Exactly.
And onto the field for that last home game, yeah.
And with Gunga, I mean, obviously he's an intriguing player when he's on the field and he's out of legal problems. I mean, he had a couple really good years when he came over, but it's hard, and I know we all accuse the Pirates of being pinching their pennies, but in this case, I can't really blame them to commit that kind of money to a player who's played a grand total of 3 games in
but
2
they can
years.
still talk to him and bring him back. This is a question that I have for you. This has been driving me nuts. Do people not realize the scope of losing Jordy and Jae-Hae? And you knew that's what I was going to ask, because it's like they're just like nobody. Yeah. Everyone's like, no big deal.
I think the fans are so accustomed to nobody ever playing their whole career here that they figure, well, I'm surprised they've been here this long.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that they underestimate the quality. This is a real live middle infield in your major leagues.
And they have 2 holes to fill. I think Adam Frazier has shown that he could fill the second base hole in the second half, hitting-wise. And, his fielding was a little bit better than I thought it was. I mean, I don't think he's a Gold Glover, but I don't think he's a butcher either. I think
we didn't think Corey Dickerson would be a finalist either.
True, you never know. But shortstop, to me, is a gaping hole day.
You're not a Newman or Kramer guy?
On TV, I love them. They were great on Seinfeld, but on the field, not yet. I still think both have talent, and I think they could be, but in September, and I realize it might not be fair to judge a guy off 20 or 30 games late in the year, but both of them didn't, neither one, I should say, looked ready to play in the big leagues at this point, and I think they're going to need to go back to Indianapolis for a little bit more and just bide their time and get a little bit better and be ready the next time the call comes.
So let's talk Pitt basketball, Matt. Season is almost upon us. The Jeff Capel era. It's about to begin.
It's that time, and Thursday night they have an exhibition against Pitt Johnstown, so Pitt versus Pitt. But everybody's really looking forward to Tuesday, November 6th, first game of the Capel era. Youngstown State coming to town. Should be a game that Pitt can win, and I'm just really curious, more than anything, just to see the level of excitement in the building. Like, is the place going to be packed? Is it going to sell out for the first game? I think it really is, because at the end of last year, people were sort of jaded by the whole Stallings era. They were playing in front of 3,000, 4,000 people probably in those last few conference games.
I mean, nobody was going to those games, and who could blame them? They were boring. If they were on TV, I'm like, man, this is just horrible. But that's my thinking: is what's the response from the students coming out and the alumni? Do people show up in numbers to watch this offense play?
Yeah, and that's the thing. The good thing, I think, about a Tuesday night start to the season, you're going to have the kids on campus, not a whole lot going on. It's not a weekend or anything, not on Thanksgiving break, not on holiday. So I really think there's a chance at least the Zoo will have a real good turnout. I mean, a sellout, that's tough to do against Youngstown State or any small conference team. So, but I just want to see the energy in the building, and I think that more than anything.
Is the Zoo going to be a thing again?
The Zoo is, and now keep in mind they're flipping the court around for next year too, so this is going to be the last year of the Zoo.
Oh, wow.
As we see it, next year the Zoo's going to be front and center on TV, not, because they have the camera sort of backwards at Pitt where it's shooting at the back of the Zoo. So next year, this is really a turning point for the program to get things fired up again. Jeff Capel's got the momentum, but it's going to take wins to keep it going.
Talking the Penguins minor league system, is there anybody that's worth keeping an eye on? Never mind Wilkes-Barre Wheeling at any level of the system.
Jan Droge is someone, I think we're both
excited.
He's
my dude.
He's your guy. I mean, he was a mid-round pick. I think a lot of fans maybe aren't aware of him. He's not an exciting prospect, but these past few years, he's really grown. You saw him at development camp, and he stood out to you.
I loved him. Remember, you and I were sitting there outside the rink, and I saw him take one possession and go flying up the left wing. And I said, "Who's that?" And you mentioned his name right away, and I was like, "That's the Slovenian kid."
Yeah.
Which is how I think of these things.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the only one. He's
He
a
is
very
the only one.
he's a very skilled guy. He's playing in the QMJHL, which is notorious for not being strong defensively.
It's offense, yeah.
And he's Slovenian, and Slovenians don't play.
They don't play defense.
They don't play
Other
defense.
than Anže Kopitar is a great two-way player, but he's
because
Kopitar for a reason.
Kopitar played in Sweden when he was young to grow his
And
defense.
they teach you how to play two ways there.
Drozd did that. Now he's playing in the QMJHL, where you'd think maybe he can't really work on his defense, but he's playing on a really bad team.
Now, I've talked to Jim Rutherford about Drozd. They like the way that he moves with the puck. Some people can fly. And now, you've talked to Drozd, too. How much is he concentrating on becoming that complete player? Because as we've seen with Sprong, you're not going to play for Mike Sullivan if you can't do it all over the rink.
Yeah, I mean, Sprong played for a good QMJHL team, so they're not,
It's not.
He's not playing defense. Drozd is playing for a really bad one. I asked him about growing his, defense, that side of his game, the QMJHL, and he pretty much said, like, we spend the entire game in our own zone.
He's got to get good there.
So they're
That's
only,
great.
and now that's not to say he doesn't score. He's hovering right around a point per game. They played 3 games in 3 days. He scored in all of them. He's his team's leading scorer. So he's growing, and he should be in Wilkes-Barre next year. And he should make that transition well, I think.
A Balkan joining the team.
All right, John, the 2018 baseball season is in the books. I mean, it's over. Red Sox are your champions once again for the 4th time since we used to hear about a curse. I don't know what that was all about. It seems like they win all the time to me.
I know.
But how about the MVP? And as a man that I know you spent some time around, talked to when he was in a Pirates uniform, Steve Pearce, could you have ever pictured him as a World Series MVP?
No, I'll be honest. I'm not going to say I'm that clairvoyant. I think Steve Pearce is the MVP of the World Series, but he's turned into a pretty good player in the role that he is. He plays against he plays primarily against left-handers, and he does a good job at what he does, and he's had an eventful career since he's left here. He's played for basically every team in the American League, it seems like. I know he's played for all 5 American League East teams, but he's really one of these late-blooming guys who, when he got a chance to play in Baltimore 4 or 5 years ago, took advantage of it, and now he's had a chance to be at least a semi-regular in Toronto and now Boston, and I'm not surprised that he had a good series. I didn't think he would almost single-handedly win the last 2 games for them, but I'm glad. Steve's a good guy, one of the really good guys in the game, and even though he's been long gone from here, every time I cross paths with him, he always makes it a point to talk. And
do you think he was sort of, I don't want to say miscast, I mean, he was a young guy coming up, but maybe too much was expected of him in the Pirates, or that they wanted him to be an everyday player, and really he is a guy that falls into that role where he plays, 100 games, whatever it might be, and what's asked of him. Yeah,
and then that's what he's become, and he's become very good at it. And I just think the Pirates never, when he was a young player, were totally convinced that he was going to be a regular in the big leagues. And in fairness, he didn't do all that much when he was in the big leagues with the Pirates either. And I know he got frustrated at times. I'd talked to him when he was a rookie and in his second year saying, boy, I wish I could play like a month straight. But there's always that kind of catch-22. Okay, well, you got to hit some to play that, but it's hard to hit when you're not playing every day, and it's that conundrum, and it just didn't work out for him here. But as time's gone on, he's found that niche.
But yeah, and that's good to see from a guy that even came up here, finally, at 35 years old. I mean, and he's now suddenly a bigger star than he ever was.
Yeah.